Yes, welcome
No
everyone.
other than, yeah.
Excited na
Sige,
tayo.
can you introduce our speaker for today?
Okay, so our speaker for today, and si Miss Lay Barbosa. She also was with us last week. She basically the topic last week was to just define what's homeschooling. Kasi may mga, doon ko nga nalaman na traditional pala yung tawag dun sa yung school, and then there, when you do homeschool, it could be something na tinuturo ng parent, and it could also be a lesson. Kasi what if hindi ka nga magaling na teacher, di ba? You can parang depend on other parents din pala to help you out with the homeschool. So, okay, matakot. It's not something that you should be afraid of. At least that I learned from Miss Lay, di ba? That I learned from Miss Lay. She has a 5 and 8-year-old kid. She is a nurturer by heart. She started her career as a volunteer teacher before she pursued her career in human resources. Her focus is organization and people development. Homeschool mom to 2 kids aged 5 and 8. I'd like to welcome everyone. Please welcome Lay Barbosa.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you ulit, Sir Ron.
Pakilala ko muna uli ng konti pa. More information about
more information pa ba?
Ako na lang papakilala po ito ng konti. No?
Thank you, Sir Ron.
I've known Leia for the last, how many years? 10 years, I think. And I met Leia in the office kasi she's the parang head ng supervisor ng HR, no? She's my partner actually in my company as the trainer. No? She does my, when we do team building, siya yung nagde-design ng aming program. And then ngayon nagho-homeschool siya. We've been partner, no, for the last how many years? 3 years na siguro kami, 2 years na siguro sa business, no. And I like to work with Leia. Why? Because of her personality, no. Kasi parang we both are nurturer, no. We like relationships. We like to build small group of relationship na malalim, you know, parang we really want and like people, no. So, and that's the thing na nagustuhan ko kay Leia. Ngayon, ang focus niya ngayon is yung kanyang mga anak, no? I do not know, siguro kwento nila, bakit naman siya nag-homeschool. Leia, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Sir Ron. So, again, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm happy to be with you again for this week para sa ating Homeschool Roundtable forum. So, today, we're going to tackle yung education in the new normal. I-share ko lang yung slide ko, ha?
Sige, ako muna ako stop share ako, Lay, para you can share your slide.
Sige.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, here. Share. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, go lang.
Okay, there you go. So, yan. Right now, actually, magdi-disclaimer muna ako. Hindi po ako eksperto. Ano po? Hindi po ako eksperto pagdating sa education. Yun nga, katulad po na nabanggit ni Sir Ronnie kanina, I am in training for the past how many years, for more than a decade in corporate. Pero close to my heart yung learning, yung education as a profession. Kaya nga po ako nag-start before ng aking career as a volunteer teacher. Nagturo po ako sa Bacolod. I was sent by my school. I volunteered sa school po namin when I graduated. I taught in Holy Family Vocational High School in Sumag, Bacolod City. So, natuto akong mag-Ilonggo dahil sa aking volunteer work, and that particular work taught me a lot of things. More than just yung about myself, but more about kung ano yung need ng mga kabataan, ng mga na-experience ko na maging estudyante. At saka, at the same time, an understanding also siguro doon sa traditional school. Kasi alam niyo po, ang tinuturuan ko po during that time, I was teaching minor subject, PE, health, music, tsaka computer. Pero from first year to fourth year po yung tinuturuan ko during that time. And I was teaching 52 students in a class. Ganun po kadami yung estudyante. So parang sa akin during that time, wala na po akong boses. Parang I now can sympathize dun sa mga teachers natin, especially yung mga nasa public school na minsan hindi lang 52 yung estudyante nila eh. They have to teach 120 in one class. So, makikita mo yung there is a need for our community right now, sa learning community natin, for us to work together so that we could weather the storm that we are experiencing. So, this is something that I would like to share with you all, not because I am an expert on this, but we just want to help you synthesize para ma-summarize yung kung ano yung mga information na nasa labas ngayon. Actually, I sent a news bit to Sir Ronnie last night kasi I found out that there was a new legislation passed by Senate. Yesterday lang to, Senate okayed a bill authorizing the President to postpone daw yung start ng school year. So parang, syempre, this particular news, ang sabi, pwede daw ma-move pa yung opening ng classes from August, pwede pa daw maging September or at a later date. So this will be given, parang ang authority will be given to the President to decide kung kailan talaga magsa-start yung school year. But, this particular information actually nagkakaroon tayo ng fear as parents if we are not really prepared for it. So, it's important for us to study. Sandali lang, upo muna tayo, tapos let's look at the options that we have as parents. Education is not just in the school. You can actually teach your children. Education is not in the books. Sa bahay, ang dami na kaagad na pwede nating ituro sa ating mga anak. Pero syempre, alam ko naman na dahil laki tayo lahat sa traditional school, ang parati nating itatanong, i-recognize ba yan ni DepEd? So ngayon, ganito yung gagawin natin. We're going to show you kung ano yung mga pinublish ni DepEd, and then we will find out ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito para sa atin as parents. If we are going to choose for this particular option, ano yung mga kailangan natin gawin. So, let's start with our discussion. Okay pa ba tayo? Okay pa tayo dyan?
Okay.
Yes? Okay. So, let's move forward. So, ang sabi natin last week, ang preparation natin should start with the parent. Lalabas ko lang itong mabilis ha. Ito yung slide natin last week. Ang sabi natin, as a parent, it is important for us to begin with the end in mind. So, if we are going to move forward with this, why are we going to do this? Kasi what we're going to do will spell kung ano yung mga bagay na kakailanganin natin para sa family natin. So say for example, you will choose to homeschool your kids while there is COVID. So it's all right. So walang problema, walang pressurean na dapat hanggang high school ka pareho nila Sir Ronnie. Okay? So pwede po tayo, if you choose to homeschool your kids while there's COVID, ngayon lang, pero babalik kayo ulit sa traditional, it's all right. But because that is your end in mind, now what are we going to do? Now we are going to research. Ano yung mga track na possible na pwede nating kuhanin dahil ang pinili natin ay ganito para mag-homeschool. Okay? So, nandun na tayo sa second stage ng preparation natin as parents. Last week, we said begin with the end in mind. We actually gave you few days to think about it, to really identify kung ano yung reason nyo why you want to homeschool. This time, we are helping out the community to research ano ba yung pwede nating gawin. Okay, nandun tayo sa second point natin sa preparation ng parents. So now, what is DepEd offering to parents? Una, sabi, meron daw option, according to DepEd, magkaroon ng face-to-face. Pero ito, limited number of learners sa school. So, dahil face-to-face, physically present in one classroom. Pero, ang mag-i-issue nito ng go signal is government pa rin, si DepEd. Bakit? It will not be possible to do face-to-face pag ang classification sa community natin is you are moderate and high-risk severity yung grading natin. So, ngayon, meron pong ngayon, parang sa atin hindi pa nalilift kasi meron pa tayong ECQ. ECQ pa tayo, di ba? Meron tayong general, medyo nirelax. Pero it does not mean wala na po yung threat ng COVID. No? So, hindi siya nawala. So, ibig sabihin, it is not possible for Metro Manila. Meron po ba dyan na hindi from Metro Manila? Can you press 1 sa chat box kung hindi po tayo taga Metro Manila? Wala naman. So, all in Metro Manila. So, ngayon, hindi yan feasible na magkaroon tayo ng face-to-face. Hindi yan ide-declare ni DepEd for us. Ngayon, kanina, while we were waiting, may nag-usap si Sir Ronnie and si Tin, naalala ko to. Learner with disabilities whose condition requires face-to-face instruction, it will be subject for further discussion within DepEd partners and with parents. Wala pang nilalabas na ruling regarding those with learning disabilities, kung ano yung gagawin, how we're going to move forward pagdating sa kanila. But, pwedeng i-implement ang face-to-face doon sa mga low-risk area. Kasi minsan may mga isla na wala naman sa kanilang cases ng COVID, they will be allowed to do face-to-face. No? So ito, hindi na natin talaga to option right now. Kasi tayong mga taga Metro Manila ay nasa moderate, high risk pagdating sa COVID. Okay? So scrap na natin tong option na to for our kids. Ngayon, yung second, meron ditong sinasabi na distance learning. Ako personally, I was confused nung binabasa ko to. Kasi sabi ko, ano kaya yung distance learning? But may mga iba pang definition. Ang sabi, distance learning takes place, of course, between the teachers and the learners na geographically remote. According sa DepEd, ang distance learning, meron pa siyang tatlo. Okay? Under distance learning, meron tatlong platform. So una, meron tinatawag na modular distance learning. Second, may online distance learning. And third, meron TV at saka radio-based na learning na pwedeng tingnan ni parent. Okay? So tingnan natin kung anong ibig sabihin ng modular distance learning. Ito po yung binabanggit po ni Secretary Briones. Bigla ko sabi ko, ano pangalan? Sabi ni Secretary Briones, kung wala kayong printer, pwedeng i-print daw ng mga eskwelahan yung mga modules at dadalahin daw sa bahay-bahay or perhaps is-schedule ng mga eskwelahan sa tulong ng mga LGU para ma-pick up. Hindi dadami yung tao sa mga eskwelahan. Pipick upin itong mga print na mga worksheets or perhaps, hindi ko alam kung if they are still going to use books. Pero meron na kasi silang nilabas right now na nakita ko na yung nakita ko na sa website ng DepEd na meron na silang mga nilabas na mga modules. Anong mangyayari po dito? Si teacher po ang responsible pa rin po pagka nasa modular distance learning tayo. So si teacher will take the responsibility of monitoring the progress of the learner. Ito, ideal po ito pagka yung mga anak natin ay medyo malalaki na and they can do things on their own. Kaya ang sabi po dito ay self-learning module. Okay? So the learner, ang binibigay na direction ng DepEd for modular distance learning, the learner can ask assistance from the teacher. Pwede sila mag-email, pwede mag-text, pwedeng mag-FB, kung meron silang FB group sa eskwelahan. Yun yung way nila para mag-clarify, para masagutan, or para ma-monitor din ni teacher si learner. Yun po yung sa modular distance learning. Yung online distance learning naman daw po, ang similarity nito, si teacher pa rin Si teacher pa rin po yung facilitator. Pag online distance learning, they are going to use the technology, specifically the internet. Pwede po sila ditong magkaroon ng mga webinar, virtual classes, parang katulad po ng ginagawa natin ngayon, mag-download ng mga materials at pwede din po na kung meron po silang mga learning management system na nakuha, specifically siguro sa private. Aware po ako sa mga private school, meron pong ibang mga eskwelahan who got yung mga online na mga learning management system na doon na nila ini-enroll isa-isa yung mga estudyante nila. Tapos monitor na rin ng mga teachers yung mga result ng mga exams and quizzes nila for each student. No? Yan yung online distance learning. Dito naman po pumapasok yung mga naririnig po natin sa balita na sinasabi nila, paano naman yung walang internet? Paano naman yung walang gadgets? Kaya lang, ang sinasabi ng DepEd natin, hindi lang naman ito ang option. Meron pa daw pong TV and radio-based na instruction. Ito naman, yung SLM, na nandun sa modular distance learning, they converted that. They converted that for television-based instruction. So parang ako, wala pa po ako nakikitang material right now. Nag-try po ako mag-research this morning. Wala pa po ako nakikita na pinublish ng DepEd na available na TV-based instruction. So, I'm thinking perhaps more of si teacher nagsasalita, tapos sinasabi niya, nagtuturo na siya while they are being videoed based dun sa na-develop na self-learning modules. Gayon, sa radio, ganun din siya, pero radio yung ginamit na tawag dito na way of transmitting the instruction. So, Rons, you want to add something?
So far, wala. Hindi pa naman. Go ahead lang.
Okay. Meron pa pong questions? May additional po kayo ni information ako. We will be very happy if you're going to give us additional information. Just send us through chat. Okay? So, let's move forward. So, yon ang nakita na po natin yung face-to-face. Meron na po tayong nakita na distance learning that DepEd is offering. And ito naman po yung huli, nabanggit na to ni Ma'am Chambi kanina, yung blended learning. Ito naman pong blended learning, syempre blended, di ba, para sa blender. So, hinalo-halo. Okay? So, kung ano yung applicable para sa estudyante, yun yung gagamitin. So, either merong face-to-face. Kung hindi kasama face-to-face, anong specific distance learning na model ang kukuhanin, or perhaps, pagsasama-samahin yung tatlo. Okay? So, ang critical dito sa implementation nito is yung na-develop ng teacher na learning material. Right now po, ni-launch na ng DepEd yung DepEd Commons. Ang this is an access to free materials that parents can actually use. Nakita ko po medyo marami lang na mga materials na challenging siya kasi yung iba kailangan talaga siyang i-print. So especially pagka lower years. Kunyari, yung mga worksheets for writing. So hindi mo naman siya pwedeng i-write sa gadget, di ba? So kailangan mo talaga siyang i-print out. So yun yung ibang mga challenges ng mga ibang families. Pero, pag tinignan natin, currently, nagsa-start pa lang po mag-develop ng ibang yung mga modular na learning si DepEd. Kasi, as of June 1, nung nilaunch po nila yung sinabi nilang mag-e-enroll ang public school for 4 weeks, kasama po pala doon sa survey na yon kung ano yung available kada eskwelahan. Kung ano po yung kaya na pwedeng ibigay. Chine-check nila kung ano yung pwedeng ibigay at i-design para sa isang section perhaps or sa isang eskwelahan. Mas marami ba dito na may gadget? O sige, pwede tayong mag-online distance learning. Mas marami ba dito ang wala? O meron tayong blended dito. So nagsa-start pa lang daw po silang mag-survey right now. So pag inisip po natin, I'm not very much familiar kung ano po yung situation ngayon sa private school. Pero kung tatanungin niyo po ako, I think mas well-prepared ito pong susunod natin na option. At ang tawag po dito ay homeschool. Masyadong biased ba? Okay. Bakit siya? Kaya lang kasi pag inisip ko siya, prepared sila kasi ito na yung mode of learning even before COVID, no? So walang nagmamadali kasi nga nandito na siya, naka-set up na siya for the longest time. Ang mga community sa homeschooling have already put things in place, kumbaga, ng mas maaga na walang minamadali kasi nga po it's an alternative. It's an alternative delivery mode based po sa definition ni DepEd. And I think ang difference nito, katulad nung binanggit natin last week, is that pagdating po sa homeschool, this will be facilitated by parents. Kaya lang, the way things are going right now, baka kailangan nating magtulungan as a community. Kasi may mga parents katulad ng mga concerns na paano 'yon? Pag pumasok ako, sino magtuturo kung si lola lang yung nasa bahay o kaya si tita lang yung nasa bahay. So ngayon, ang definition ni DepEd, when it comes to homeschool is it's going to be facilitated by qualified parent, guardian, or perhaps tutor. Ako, I experienced that with some of my mga homeschooling families that kasama namin sa community na parang sa kanila medyo challenge kasi either dalawa silang mag-asawa na nagtatrabaho, they need to work, they find tutor for their kids to help. So sila nag-oversee pa rin sila doon sa education ng mga anak nila, pero they get qualified people to help their children pagdating dun sa academics. So second, homeschooling is personally from my experience, this is very helpful because it allows my family to educate according to personal faith, philosophy, and values. And it is also to adjust learning schedules around family schedules and circumstances. Nakita ko po dun sa ibang experiences ng mga nasa community namin because they are mga businessmen o kaya may mga negosyo yung mga family. Mas madali daw mas madali mag-adjust pagdating sa study schedule ng mga bata kasi hindi nila kailangan maging present sa eskwelahan eh. Minsan yung travel nila nandun yung lesson nila. So as a family, magkakasama sila. So it was something that was easy for them to adapt yung homeschooling. Kami naman po on our part, sabi ko po sa inyo last week, 'di ba? Nabigyan po ako ni God ng ample time to really plan for the homeschooling of our kids. In fact po, mag-X-Men pa lang po kami ng aking husband. X-Men. Hindi pa po kami mag-asawa. We already discussed that this is an option that we would like to look into yung homeschooling kasi we want to be purposive in teaching our children our faith and at the same time, yung mga values that we want them to have. Katulad nga nung nabanggit ni Sir Ronnie kanina. Medyo dangerous on our part kasi ang babata pa ng mga anak, no? Pero nakita ko personally sa example ni Sir Ronnie sa family niya yung beauty of homeschooling. In fact, si Sir Ronnie po ang sa akin nag-inspire sa akin na mag-homeschool. Kasi nga po matagal na kami magkakilala. Mas matagal pa po kami magkakilala ni Sir Ronnie kesa po doon sa asawa ko. Kasi magka-opisina kami. So, sabi ko sa husband ko before, uy, mag-homeschool tayo meron ako kakilala kasi nag-homeschool, ganyan. So, actually, ang model ko si family ni Sir Ronnie. Okay. So, sabi ni DepEd, pagdating sa homeschooling, DepEd will issue expansion of this method to address some issues on implementation. Kasi, isa sa mga nagiging concern, paano daw kunyari, hindi nakagraduate si parent, pwede pa rin ba siyang magturo? Ano yung mga pwedeng gawin? Yung mga curriculum ba na yung mga tinuturo ba ng parents or ng guardian, aligned sa curriculum? So, this is something that we have to wait. Until now, I checked this morning, wala pa pong nilalabas na mga implementing rules and guidelines si DepEd regarding this issue on homeschooling pagdating sa mga issues na ganito. Okay? Ngayon, nakita ko na right now, ang DepEd said that they have reduced kung ano yung mga kailangang aralin ng mga bata based doon sa last year na curriculum. Ang sabi nila, ang tawag nila doon, MELC right now. Ang tawag sa kanya, Most Essential Learning Competencies. Akala ko nabawasan yung subjects. Hindi pala. Para siguro may mga certain topics lang. Hindi ko pa nabusisi yung kada topic. But this is what I have found in DepEd website. Sabi nila, for lower years from grade 1 to grade 10, ito po yung mga subjects that will be covered. So whether you are in regular school or homeschool, ito po yung mga kukuhanin natin na mga topic na isasama. Unless yung inyong homeschool provider is open curriculum. So meron din pong ano ba yun? Open curriculum? Nalulunod na ba? Kung open curriculum, ibig sabihin kung meron kayong mga iba na mga subjects that you would like to focus on, pwede po yun. Pero hindi po lahat ng homeschool provider is offering that, ha? Not all. Meron talagang homeschool provider na kung ano yung aligned siya dun sa DepEd na curriculum, yun yung ino-offer nila. So, yan. Ito daw po sa lower years, from grade 1 to grade 10, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, Filipino, Araling Panlipunan, English, Math, Art, Health, Music, PE, Science, TLE. Pero yung PE and TLE, meron po ang grade 11 and grade 12. And for senior high, ito pong mga nasa listahan na ito daw po yung currently na most essential learning competencies according to DepEd na kukuhanin ng mga senior high. Hindi din po lahat if meron po kayong anak na senior high, hindi po lahat ng accredited na homeschool provider is offering senior high. You have to check with them first kung sino po. Yun dun po sa pinakita po namin, shinare namin sa inyo na listahan kanina na some homeschool provider, hindi po lahat sila nag-o-offer. So you have to ask kung meron po kayong mga anak na senior high, kung sila po ay nag-a-accept for homeschooling. Okay? So, yan po yung coverage. Bakit ko po yan pinakita? Kaya ko po yan pinakita sa inyo kasi should you choose to homeschool your kids, yan po yung bubunuin natin as parents. Yan yung aaralin natin. So, ulitin ko, itong mga subjects na to for lower years and para po sa senior high, ito pong mga subjects na ito. Okay? So, we're going to learn with our children with itong mga particular topics that topics or subjects that DepEd has identified to be the most essential learning competencies. Okay? Now, ako po, wala po akong homeschool provider. This is still an option. And this is also accepted by DepEd. Ito yung binanggit ni Sir Ronnie Pahapyaw kanina. Ito po sa independent homeschooling. Sa independent homeschooling, meron lang pong 5 core subjects that are covered for PEP test. Ano po yung PEP test? PEP test po is the Philippine Educational Placement Test. So say for example, you decide to homeschool your kids independently. Kunyari lang po hindi kayo mag-homeschool provider. Ang i-cover nyo lang pong subject, ito pong 5 na nakasulat po dito. 5 core subjects, English, Science, Math, Filipino, and Araling Panlipunan. Specific to your child. And then after that, every November po, nagsischedule po si PEP test ng exam. Although right now, definitely, pre-COVID, every November meron. Sure tayo doon. And then, kung nakapag-register kayo ng September for PEP test, you're going to pay tumataginting na 50 pesos para po mag-exam. Pero kung gusto niyo pong mag-exam earlier than November, special schedule ninyo, you have to pay napakamahal, 200,000 pesos. 200 pesos lang po. You will pay DepEd 200 pesos to take the PEP test. Pero ano yung niyan, yung PEP test? Yun nga po, 5 subjects lang po yung coverage niyan para sa inyong mga anak and it will test kung yung napag-aralan po ninyo sa bahay as homeschooling family ay within the level ng inyo pong anak. So, basically, para siyang diagnostic on your part if you still want to continue independent homeschooling or perhaps if you want to go back to traditional school, ito po yung pwede nating gawin. Kung kayo po ay independent homeschool, kung yun po ang pipiliin ninyo. Ngayon, pag secondary naman po tayo, kunyari high school yung estudyante natin, yun pa din pong 5 core subjects na yun, pero ito po yung coverage niya. Nakalista naman po dito yung reading comprehension, vocabulary development, composition, literature. So, ito po yung mga subject na covered para po sa PEP test. So, what will happen, Miss Leia, pag nag-fail yung anak ko sa PEP test? Ang mangyayari lang po nun, you will take the exam again. If I'm not mistaken, after 1 month, you have to take the exam again. Uulitin lang po ulit yung PEP test para po makapasa kayo. And if you wanna go back to traditional school again, all schools are accepting yung PEP test as a valid document, school document for your child if they wanna go back to traditional school. Okay? That's for PEP test. Kung ikaw ay magi-independent homeschooler. However, for our specific case, kami po we are going to take the ALS track. Ano yung ALS? Kami po ay nasa alternative learning system. Ang kukuhanin po ng mga anak ko ay assessment and equivalency test for ALS for elementary, and the next one is for high school. So ngayon, ang coverage po ng ALS ay ito pong 6 na strand na to. Communication skills, scientific literacy and critical thinking skills, mathematical and problem-solving skills, life and career skills, understanding self and society, tsaka digital literacy. Pero, aware po kami na pag nag-ALS kami na track, may iba pong universidad na hindi po nag-a-accept ng dokumento na i-issue po sa amin ng ALS. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, right now, UP is out of the list already as potential school for my 2 kids kasi hindi po nila ino-honor ang ALS na certificate, the ANE certificate. So, ibig sabihin niyan, pupunta kami sa ibang mga universidad. Okay? So, ano po yan? That's something that you have to make peace with. Pero kasi depende nga po yan kung ano yung gusto nyo pong end result sa inyong pag-homeschool. Kami po, ang decision po namin is to homeschool until high school. Ang haba pa. Layo pa yung aming journey. So, we are okay with that choice. So, we consider that independent homeschooling is the best option for our family. Kasi we think that importante yung life skills, no? And right now, ang learning namin, ang lessons namin ng mga kids is actually putting up a very small business na nakapangalan sa mga bata. Home-based lang na business. But we are involving them. So kasama dyan yung mga lesson namin sa math, sa pagtitimbang, kasi po kami ay, nagpo-promote ba ako? Hindi. We are selling embutido right now within our community. So, we are involving our kids. Start namin from planning. Meron kaming may field business kami no nakaraan. We taught them also what are the learnings that we got from that. So, we think that independent homeschooling for our family is very advantageous on our part because we could be able to identify kung ano yung mga bagay that we really want to stress pagdating sa pag-aaral ng mga bata. Pero nakafocus pa rin po kami doon sa 5 na core subjects that PEP test, under PEP test na in-identify. Why are we doing that? Kasi pagka kunyari, eventually, medyo older na yung mga kids namin, should they decide to go to the traditional school, we want them also to be prepared for that. Kasi kami nag-decide ng husband ko for ALS eh. But if our children should eventually, Mom, we want to try traditional school. O sige, we will be ready. So, meron kami mga preparations na ginagawa for that. Pero, nakafocus kami dun sa faith namin and at the same time, yung sa values ng mga bata and life skills that we want them to learn. So ngayon, nakita na natin yung mga options natin. From DepEd, yung alam natin yung methodology, tapos meron pala tayong option to homeschool, dalawang track, either mag-homeschool tayo through providers or mag-homeschool tayo independently. What are we going to do next? Para hindi po tayo mabaliw. Mabaliw talaga no? Kasi nga po sa sobrang dami ng mga options na nandyan sa labas at perhaps kasama na din po siguro yung ingay ng fear, tapos yung mga diskusyon pagdating sa level sa governance natin. Ito po ang pinaka-practical na advice namin sa inyo. Number 1, you can enroll your kids with your current school if they are offering either blended learning or online distance learning. Just make sure that you understand kung ano po yung learning modalities that they are offering para alam nyo kung ano yung support na ibibigay ninyo sa anak nyo if you will enroll them with their current school who's offering, again, yung mga binanggit ni DepEd kanina. So, ask them of the modalities that they are going to adapt and at the same time, ano yung mga support na ibibigay sa inyo ng school? Kasi baka mamaya si school din ill-prepared. Kasi nga, this happened to us. COVID happened to us. Merong mabagal mag-respond dun sa change that is needed. So, if they are ill-prepared, you also have to manage your expectation as a parent kasi if you enroll them with the current school that you have right now, baka hindi ka din nila masuportahan as a parent. So you have to be ready as the parent kasi you will really be the ikaw ang tututok dun sa mga anak mo para masundan mo yung matapos nila yung mga materials that were given to them. Or katulad nung nabanggit ni Sir Ronnie kanina, we would recommend that you go to an accredited homeschool provider. It will be very helpful for you guys to do that. Bakit? Kasi meron na silang recommended curriculum. Handa sila eh. Kasi nga, pre-COVID, meron na sila, they already have things in place. So it will be helpful for you if you're going to go for accredited homeschool provider and if possible, kung meron mga local books na nakakomply na kay DepEd, better kasi hindi ka na mamomroblema na may isusupplement ka pa. But if you want to move forward and after perhaps one school year, you want to pursue homeschooling, that's the time you're going to decide if you want to continue with an accredited homeschool provider, you want to go to the online ng traditional, or perhaps you want to go to independent, yun na yung pwede natin gawin. So, ngayon, kasama sa mga advice na ibabanggitin namin is siguro meron sa inyo na nag-join na ng mga ibang mga homeschooling group. Dami sa Facebook di ba? Ito yung mga naging experience ko recently and I think this is something helpful for all of us to remind ourselves. Kasi po, ang nakikita ko po sa mga group chats right now is that they are sharing a lot of freebies right now. So ngayon nakita ko po na minsan po kaninang umaga may nagpadala sa akin, may McGraw-Hill nakalagay. Sabi ko, aray ko, sandali, publishing to Alam kaya ito, meron kaya itong clearance to share this material. Meron po kaming ako personally siguro, I would like to ask from those who are right here nandito sa group. We can share the source link. Wag yung downloaded material kasi there's a reason why they are sharing these materials. As siguro as a professional and at the same time tayo as parents, let's sabi nga sa ito, do not merely look out for your own personal interest but also for the interest of others. Sabi sa Philippians 2 verse 4. Tayo may need din tayo kasi nga dahil because of the COVID, maliit ang kita or perhaps yung iba wala pang mga trabaho. So free materials is really valuable for us kasi hindi na tayo magbabayad. Pero we also have to think of those people who are developing these materials. They also need livelihood. So ito pinaghirapan nila to create this material, to research on it. So if you are going to share a material, we would recommend that you share the source link so that they could go to the source, the website, perhaps of the developers of this material. Huwag niyo pong i-share yung downloaded material so that they could visit. Kasi baka may iba pa silang materials that they would like to share naman for a very small profit for them to sell naman, no? And second, we also have to do our part. Let's check if the materials that are being shared with us are really free. Kasi baka mamaya, shinare na ako, sumasakit po yung puso ko pag may nakikita akong sinishare na yung scholastic. Tapos sabi ko, sandali lang, parang hindi siya free material. Bakit naniningil? Minsan naniningil pa. Naniningil sila for a fee to sige, tig to 20 pesos lang. Kaya lang, let's not do that. Let's be reminded that we are here. Sama-sama tayong na COVID Let's help each other as a community. And I think that is what this community is all about. Ito yung advocacy that Sir Ronnie is espousing with Homeschool Roundtable. We would like to enjoin all parents, if you can invite other parents to join our community, ano yung pwede natin gawin? As a community, what we can do is to talk to these developers. Ano yung pwede natin gawin? Mag-group buy tayo. Para tayo parents, liliit yung natin, yung cost natin for the education, but at the same time, we also help those who are developing these materials, the teachers who are preparing all of this, and as a community, we help each other, no? kaya napakaganda nitong nung Philippians 2 verse 4 Let's not look out for our own personal interest. Tingnan din natin kung paano natin matutulungan yung buong komunidad para mas lalo na maraming mga teachers na nasa private school who were displaced because of COVID. Let's help each other and we will be able to come out stronger, and at the same time we will all grow. Hindi lang yung grow na lumaki yung tiyan natin kasi kain tayo ng kain sa bahay, but we really grow kasi pati yung pag-iisip natin, and at the same time siguro our character, no, that we think of others as we weather this storm together, especially do sa education ng kids natin. So thank you very much for giving me a time to share with you guys how we can move forward. So if you have any questions, please feel free to chat your questions to us. And if you would like to share or add anything, insights about what we have done for this afternoon, please, we encourage you to share your thoughts and insights with us.